The family of Thomas Ianniciello wants to know who killed their beloved Tom. The husband and father of 3 resided in Auburn, Washington. The 47-year-old was the owner of Tommy's Produce, a fresh produce distribution company in Kent. They believe that someone knows something.
I mean, somebody out there has to know something.
His wife, Julie, says she agreed to talk to the media to shake loose some leads. Julie Ianniciello says somebody knows something about her husband's death, and she's speaking out in hopes the killer will be caught. Tom was shot to death while sleeping in his bed. Thomas and Julie had been married for 16 years. They shared 2 teenage daughters. Tom had an older daughter from a previous relationship who also lived with the family. Julie and her daughters went out to run errands on the night of his murder. They left the house just before 10 p.m. where they made a few stops, including visiting her parents, the local Walmart, and picking up the eldest daughter from work at Home Depot. Sometime after 10:30 p.m., they made the shocking discovery. Upon returning home, Julie and his eldest daughter found Tom dead inside their home. They said they saw blood on him.
His oldest daughter and I went in and seen that there was, blood on him and everything. So we ran out and called 911.
And they remember seeing a car speeding away on their return to the community. On the night of April 2nd, 2016, the police were called to the residence at the 4000 block of 340th Street in unincorporated Auburn. Inside the bedroom, they found Ianniciello fatally shot. Detectives identified a close-range gunshot wound to the right side of his head. Police said they found one fired Luger .9mm cartridge casing on the bed. The medical examiner concluded that he died from a single gunshot wound to the head while he slept. There were no signs of a struggle. The King County Sheriff's Office says the slaying may have been the result of an interrupted burglary. Julie says the back door was open, and jewelry and cash were missing. Upon the arrival of the police, the sliding glass door that led to a cluttered bonus room was ajar. The girls told detectives that before they left that night, while they were waiting in the car, their mom went to say goodbye to Dad. She was in the house for about 5 to 10 minutes. Deputies said Julie and her children returned to the house around 10:50 p.m. They remember seeing a small white pickup speeding away from their neighborhood.
Came around the corner, very squirrely, almost hit us.
While detectives are looking at the pickup, she also says they're looking at business rivals of Tom's, enemies he may have made along the way, and even the possibility there's a drug connection. But why would she think there was a drug connection? With a killer on the loose, the family chose not to stay at the house after the incident. The family was outraged after a month had passed. Someone spray-painted "Rest in Peace Tommy" at the produce business park he owned. They would like to know who the mystery artist was. The family anticipated a second graffiti on the 2nd anniversary. However, that didn't happen. Julie says it was like a kick in the teeth because anyone who knows Tom knows he hates graffiti. In a 2016 interview with the media, Julie said that police had questioned her, and this was something that bothered her.
It did hurt when they asked me that. I mean, I don't know why anybody would think I would do that to him.
After 2 months, investigators still didn't have much of a solid lead in the case. A GoFundMe account was established by friends to raise money for the family. The account gained a total of $1,000. Since the murder, Julie took over her husband's produce business. It took 3 years for an arrest to be made. On Tuesday, March 26, 2019, detectives arrested Julie Ianniciello, who was booked into the King County Jail under her maiden name, Julie Shufflin, according to jail and court records. She was charged with first-degree murder. A nearly 3-year investigation finally revealed that the woman had been having an affair at the time her husband was murdered, police said. Detectives found dozens of emails between the suspect and her new boyfriend. They were emailing weeks leading up to the murder, says Ryan Abbott, King County Sheriff's spokesperson. Reading the emails, it appears this had to do with the affair she had going on.
We ended up finding a bunch of emails between the two of them. And in the email, she talked about her hatred towards her husband. She had talked about how she planned on leaving him the weekend that he was murdered.
The messages included both parties professing their love and later Julie alluding to something planned for the weekend of the murder. The man told her to be safe. why she did this. "I don't think anybody will ever know," said Abbott.
The husband was shot as he was sleeping. There was no sign of any type of struggle.
Julie's dad, Gene Shufflin, doesn't believe the allegations of the arrest. He believes in his daughter's innocence.
They've had that from the get-go. From all indications, they thought she was it right from the start. At the end, they were trying to get back together. They both admitted that they both made mistakes and were running around on each other, and they hope to get back together.
Detectives used cell phone records to eliminate Julie's boyfriend as a possible suspect in Thomas Ianniciello's death. After numerous interviews over the 3 years, a few months before the arrest, detectives spoke with Julie on January 9, 2019. She told them she was planning to end the affair and work on the marriage before he was murdered. The emails she wrote to her lover leading up to Thomas's death refuted anything of the sort. Based on investigations, the detectives were aware that Tom owned multiple guns. 2 of the guns were located inside a drawer under the bed frame. The Washington State Patrol Crime Lab confirmed police assumptions that neither of the guns was used to kill Thomas. His wife believed that he owned 3 guns, but a third one wasn't found. A few weeks after the murder, armed with a search warrant for the residence, detectives said they found 3 unfired 9mm cartridges in a garbage bag. Further investigation revealed the spent cartridge had the same forensic markings as the one found by Tom's body. Authorities understood that the gun used to murder Tom came from someone in the house. This contradicted Julie's claim of a burglary, documents said. From the evidence, the theory of an unknown suspect was thrown out the door. At the beginning of the murder investigation, detectives found electronics, cash, and other valuables inside the couple's house that hadn't been touched, say, charging papers. Detectives also knew that Julie went back inside the house for about 10 minutes, leaving her daughters in the car with the engine running and the radio on. Now, if investigators had so much evidence against Julie, why did it take 3 years to arrest her? The investigation took some time as midway through the case, there was a switch in the lead detective handling the case. This was coupled with a high volume of evidence to parse through, the email said. 48-year-old Julie Ianniciello was booked into King County Jail for an investigation of first-degree murder. Detectives also found over $10,000 in cash in a bag in her room, which family members said she had been stashing since the murder in case of an emergency. Prosecutors said this showed she does not intend to comply with the court proceedings and therefore requested bail be set at $5 million. She had an arraignment scheduled for April 8th.